Well, the Dragons were asleep this week. Luckily, their team they were playing was even more asleep. And that really did not help them in this week at all. This is Sports Hour. What's up, guys? Alexander Thomas here. Welcome back to Sports Hour. Hey, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now, I'm going to try to shorten these episodes as much as I can. I'm going to get they're going to be down like 20 minutes if I can get them down to that far. So I'm not going to go too much into what happened in this week, but we're going to go ahead and quickly go over it. The Chargers didn't score anything against the Dragons, so the Dragons did have a good week where they crushed the Chargers in this week. The big game happened with the Giants and UNC. Giants and UNC got 204 points combined between them, and that was a huge thing. The Dogs surprised the Jets, winning their game to basically put the Jets in a place where they need to get back into their game. I predicted the Jets to win that game, and they did not. Panthers rookies scored high versus the Indians. Rookies on average in that game scored 40 points with the combined between the rookies, which made up for a huge game for them. The fact is that they scored 40 points, which is basically half of what the Indians got. And Athens lost by 3. Great. Not much else happening here with the Athen. And be honest, it was a close game for that team. It was predicted to be out. He won it with a 22-point in advantage of the Lions. It was not predicted put in that way. What's up? Yeah, I got you. Superman beat out the Bobcats. And for this week, it's a huge match. It was huge for some of these games, and some of the games were pretty sad, to be honest. Now, if you guys want to predict next week's hits, I'm going to go over my predictions in this video. And you can choose to put in the comments below what your predictions are for that week. And if you do that, I will put you into to a list for Sports Hour. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to. As a prediction, at the end of the season, there may be some prizes and rewards for doing that. We're able to sneak past the Falcons in their game. The Eagles should know more to the Hawks. The Hawks are now 0-2. But now week 3 is a huge week going to it. First off, I predicted some predictions already in a previous recording of this because we were doing it live, but the live thing went completely crazy and everything. The sound wasn't working, so we decided to go ahead and do this a live recording for it. I predict the Pirates will beat the Dolphins, partly because the Pirates have been scoring a little bit better when it comes to tough opponents. However, I would not be surprised if the Dolphins do win this game. In the case of anything else, because the Dolphins have been allowing less points, it will be a very interesting game close up. Assuming the UNC we play is the first divisional game, I believe, that we have to deal with. No, it's not a divisional game. Never mind. Assuming they're 2-0, which I'm predicting Assuming to win the game on the context that they have, scored a little bit better than UNC. Although UNC is scoring more points, they're also allowing more points, which I think means the Superman will have a better chance of winning this game. Jets and Athen will play. Big question there, but the Jets have not won a game yet, and I'm predicting the Jets to win the game because I don't think the Athen have what it takes to beat the Jets, and that's what I'm predicting for that one. And the Athen are an average scoring 74 points per game. Jets are scoring slightly better than that at 80 points per game. I predict that would be 6-point differential, although the rating is 20 points in favor of the Jets. At this time, I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge. Falcons and Otters are going to play. I picked the Otters because I think the Otters will have a better shot at this. They're scoring an average of 105 points per game. Well, that is definitely wrong. Ours did not. Can I get the calculation, please? That's not right. 105. They're scoring an average of 105 points per game. They must didn't play in week 1. No, maybe it is. They've scored 72. It's not 105 though. Sheesh. I have that a little bit wrong. They're scoring an average of. Never mind. They're scoring terrible. They're doing terrible. I maybe need to change that prediction. Let's see. Make sure I'm right about this. The Otters. Never mind. They scored 170. They scored 177 and allowed 77 points. That's probably wrong too. We'll have to look at that. Because that gets them at a 50. Yeah, they're getting now 88.5 points per game. And looking at their allowed points for week 1, they allowed 77, which means we did get that part right. I just didn't get what the second week was. And second week for the Otters Otters. What are the otters? Okay, it's 72. So they're only allowing 149 points, but that means they're scoring slightly worse than that. And I honestly might want to change my prediction because of that. Because the Browns aren't doing too well in their games. I'm still going to stay with the Otters. I'm going to be serious. I picked the Otters to win the game by 28, so I don't think there's much of a difference in this. Although it is negative 17 points in favor of the Otters. Dolphins and Lions, one of the tough games of the week, I think. Oh wait, that's the wrong week. Never mind, I need to go back to this. Falcons and Otters, I do predict the Otters to win that game because the Falcons is a 2-point in favor of the Otters. Ravens and Tigers. Tough game, honestly. It's a divisional game. Falcons and Otters is not a divisional game. Jets and Athen are divisional, along with the Ravens and Tigers. I do predict, in the case for the Tigers, to win that game because of the divisional matchup, and on average, Tigers do generally win versus the Ravens. They've only been around for 3 seasons, but that's the basic idea. I picked the Browns over the Indians, mostly because I don't think the Browns will be having any problems at all. They've allowed an average of 80 points per game. The Indians haven't even scored an average of that bitch. They an average score. Okay, they scored 92 on average. That's not right. Never mind, it is right. But they don't allow a whole lot. The only problem is, I think, which is going to be a problem, is the Browns do have hits. I'm going to give the Browns the edge here, but this could be either way. I do give favor to the Aliens. Do have a chance of winning this game, but it's a divisional matchup, so it'll be very close. Cardinals and Lions. I'm giving the Cardinals the edge because I think the Cardinals have a better chance of winning against the Lions. However, this could be as I say, could be an either or game, and I do think it's going to be a tough matchup. Werewolves and Tex, not going to say much about this game. It's Werewolves all the way. It's a Werewolves and Tex game. Tex have had a hard time only doing any points, and the Werewolves have basically had it. Although they have allowed the same amount of points overall, the Werewolves have generally a better score, and that's the best thing I can say about that. Bobcats and Bengals going to go with the Big Bobcats here. Bobcats have not won a game yet, but guess what? Bengals have only won one, and their games were terrible. They only got 68 points on average in those 2 games, and that was terrible. Honestly, their higher division's terrible anyways for scoring, so I'm going to go with the Bobcats winning this one. Dogs and Angels. I'm going to go with the Angels winning this game. But it's going to be a close one. I think the Dogs will have an interesting challenge. The reason I'm giving the Angels the edge is because the Angels scored more points on average. The Dogs only scored 61 points on average per game, and that's going to be what's going on. They also the Dogs also allowed way more points, and that is a big if to it. Colts and Bulldogs, I'm going to go with Bulldogs here. Not really much to say on that subject because the fact is the Bulldogs do allow exactly 1 more point than the Angels do. Then the Bobcats, the Colts in this case, have an even amount. So I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs to win that game. It's gonna be a very close game. It's gonna be a very interesting matchup. Hawks and Packers. To be honest, I'm giving the Packers the benefit here because I honestly have not seen anything from the Hawks. They're averaging about a little less than 70 points per game. Although, granted, they're not allowing a lot of points. I just don't see them insane. Although I do think if this could be I could predict this game completely wrong. The Hawks could potentially win this game by a lot. Because the Packers aren't scoring a whole lot more, and basically that's what I'm going to go with. They are allowing more points. That's the only advantage I think that the Hawks have over the Packers. Yes. In the game of the week, the Panthers and the Dragons plays, and honestly, this is the game I'm really looking forward to seeing who wins this game. I'm picking the Panthers. I will not pick the Panthers every week, I'm pretty sure. This would be the week I was picking the Panthers. I should have picked differently, but the problem is there's not really any reason for me to pick the Dragons in this game. The Dragons have disappointed me over the last couple of weeks. They have only scored 57 points on average in the first 2 weeks, and that's not really looking forward to me because the Panthers are scoring on average 150 points per game. So, not looking at, and they've only allowed 107. So, my prediction, the Panthers will win this game by a lot. We have the Giants and Knights game, a divisional matchup, which is probably a pretty big, as this could also have been the game of the week. The Giants are scoring more points, and that's really the only advantage I have for them here. The Knights are scoring 74 points per game. The Giants are scoring 101 points per game. That's really what I have for them. I'm picking the Giants to win this game. Saints and Lightning, I'm picking the Lightning here, but I think the Saints do have a very good shot. They are averaging 76 points per game, and the Lightning are on average are scoring, 122. So that's the reason I picked the Lightning here. The only advantage I think the Saints have a pretty big advantage, though. They are allowing a lot more points. So if the Saints can win this, score a lot of points, they have a good chance of winning this game. I picked the Lightning to win this game, but it could go either way for that one. Chargers and Westville, we don't even have to say much about this game. They're in the worst division. Currently, Chargers have scored 60 points per game, 61 points per game, and have allowed 160. Only scored 121 in their 2 games. Westville has scored 134, but only scored 67 points, and have allowed 141 points. So really, these teams are both are really, really bad. And to be honest, I'm giving the Chargers a benefit because a pretty big benefit. I honestly probably should pick the Westville here because of the fact they have done a lot better. I'm picking the Chargers to win this game, but to be honest, I feel like Westville is actually going to win this game. And it is West Villa, by the way. It's not Westville. West Villa. Most people do pronounce it Westville. It's West Villa, technically, but we're going to go ahead. All right, before we get to the big portions, if you want to pick your teams, you can pick starting in for week 3. This video, you pick your teams. You say, I think these teams are going to win. Yada yada yada. Whatever you want to do. You don't need to put prediction. I have the rating for you. What is the likelihood is? If it's negative, it's more likely that the second team will win, or the away team in this case. If it's positive, then the team that has got a higher. So the Dragons are predicted to win that game, but it doesn't matter. You can pick them teams. If you do, you will get put onto this list here, which is going to be the team, which will be. Oops, I did not do that right. The season mode. The season mode means you predict whatever you want. The more points you have, the higher rating you will be. As you can see, that is actually supposed to be they're supposed to be the same. They were not the same apparently, but the thing is, if you have more points, yeah, you can get. If you're first place, you could potentially get a reward at the end of the season. I haven't decided how we're going to deal with that right now, but just know if a tie does occur, you do get a point for that, whether or not it's a win or loss, because it does count towards it. And if you want to do teams, you can do teams at any time. Just to give you a little hint, here's my team. I would not recommend copying this thing, because here's the deal. Starting as a week of next week, if you don't put your team in, you will get a 1-point penalty for every week up to week 9. After week 9, you'll get a 2-point penalty for every week, because then it is. You will get the points for every win that team has, but you will get penalized for being late, basically. It's a late penalty. And that's the only thing I want to just warn you about. And I'll put you on this list as well. I do have to go look at that after this, because I don't get that while I'm uploading this, because the fact is, I don't know if some people have said, hey, I'm going to put my team in week 2, and it's not going to be a problem if you do put it in. But starting in week 4, if you do it, you will get a 1-point penalty for each week that you took it off. And it's just because I want to make it fair for everyone who does come in a little bit later, just hasn't seen his videos. You will get a penalty for that. The only other thing I want to say is that the strength of schedules are up. The higher the rating, the harder the schedule that team has. So, for example, if the team that has the lowest rank is actually over here, the Ravens have the lowest rating, the easiest schedule. Even though they're predicted to lose all these games, they have the easiest schedule overall. They're actually getting a prediction of exactly what they had so far. The hardest schedule, I believe, is the that's currently in play. It's not the. I believe it's the Dolphins. The Dolphins. I'll predict that. I don't know if you guys have access to this or not. I'll have to go back and look to see what it is. But for every W means win, and the number for that team will always be first. That is basically it for the Sports Hour episode, and I'm going to try to make these as short as I possibly can. Next week, we got a pretty big matchup. We have some big matchups coming up. We'll see if the Hawks can actually do something. The Panthers and Dragons to play. A pretty big matchup between the Giants and Knights will play, and we have a pretty big matchup between the Saints and Lightning. That is pretty much it for the Sports Hour episode. Anyways, if you guys do want a break, you can go put down in the comments below. The rest of the Sports Hour episodes will be listed above. Sorry. The first Sports Hour episode, if you guys want to go back to figure out for the best yet, that will be listed above. And that is really it. For week 3. Week 4 will be put up on Wednesday. Will be put up on Thursday at noon. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget.